Yo, my dudes, welcome back to another episode of the E30 beam swap build, dude. First of all, a huge shout out to AK Integrated Auto Works for supporting the build and supporting the channel and letting us bring you guys this content. And then another shout out just to kindly say thank you to Condor Speed Shop, Motorsport Hardware, Tilton's in on this one, my boy Javier, Hannah, everybody. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, share it with your friends, tell everybody we're building a beams. It should be pretty cool. Without you guys, this stuff doesn't happen. Sponsors don't want to work with us if we don't have the eyes, so we appreciate every single one of you for watching this show. Now, let's get into it. I'm way more excited. Cheers. Today, we are prepping the engine bay. The Condor mounts are almost here. The beams is pretty much mated together. I don't think I really gave you guys an update on this. It's kind of basic, like really the only thing we did was create a power wire that goes from the alternator to the starter so that when we put the beams in the car, we go from the power block to the starter and then everything else has power. And the alternator can back charge through that. Made it up the transmission, got that whole setup, showed you guys how to flip the shifter. It's pretty much all back together. We looped this in. I kind of want to get rid of that whole system, but I got to study it more and understand how it goes. Tomato doesn't really matter. Also, the AK headers are going to be coming in soon along with the AK harness. So with the Condor stuff showing up very soon, this engine bay needs to take a big turn. I've already shaved off a couple of the mounts that were in here. Most of the mounts I cut off or that stuff there. Didn't really want to bore you guys watching me cut off all that stuff, so I'll bore you with something else. So technically the bay's pretty much ready to accept the motor. There's just a few more things I want to do to dress it up and make it look nice. One, I want to paint the entire thing. I'm thinking gloss black because I like gloss black and I'm planning on eventually either wrapping or painting the outside of the car gloss black to redo it. I want to paint the engine bay gloss black, but I need to kind of move the harness, get rid of some stuff and do things like that. So I'm gonna transform this bay into something that looks pretty good. I've already started shaving off some things, kind of off camera. Got a bunch of like the extra mounting things out. The only one I'm actually keeping is for the reservoir that slides into here and then screws on right here. It's the OEM E30 reservoir. I wanted to keep it because I'm also still utilizing the OEM E30 radiator, that coil rad over there. So with that being said, there's not very much to do but to get into this engine bay, start cleaning it. So when I find something cool, I'll stop and I'll explain it. Until then, everything pretty much needs to come off the walls so that I can clean a little deeper, sand, and prepare it for the paint. Oh, also our BCs showed up. So we'll get into an episode where we actually show you how to mount those BCs to the E30 knuckles. And then we also have Motorsports Hardware. There's an entire shelf on the lev rack that has all the parts for the E30. So I kind of like this lev rack system because what I get to do now is I get to pick a rack, which is usually this first one, and I put whatever project we're working on, the main parts for that car are usually in the top shelf. So that's all there. So all that's getting filled up and we have a bunch of crap for this car, which I am so excited to put on and get this thing done because I really want to drive it. I could finish this car literally in a week. If I had somebody here to just film for me, I could finish this car in a week. Easy. Next week I could do it. But we have some stuff and we have plans with the travel, which is no problem at all. But it's just slowing me down a little bit from getting this vehicle done. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Time lapse up there. Thanks, buddy. So to fill you in, I'm not going to be pulling everything out of the engine bay. The idea is to make everything movable. So where all the major parts mount, for instance, this brake line mounts up against this firewall. So the goal is to make it come off. I can paint the back side of this, then I can mount it back up once it's dry and continue on painting. That's why I kind of have the harness hung over everywhere or loose so that I can move it, paint what I have to paint, and then put the harness back. Same thing with the fuse box. Removed it so I can get back here. First of all, I have to clean, but I can clean all this out, paint all back in here, and then put the fuse box back, and continue on painting. One thing I'm finding out about this chassis is that it was definitely involved in a crash. The reason I can tell is because this is all kind of bent, but this is rusty, and I was kind of curious why this fender was rusting. You can kind of see that they're different blacks. Not really. This one's a shade darker, I think. But you can also see all of this smashed in corner here. On the inside here is kind of smashed in, and then as I'm digging around kind of in this area, I'm noticing like there's a crack here, there's a crack here, in a couple of spots. So I think that there's like a big like tire pushed back into the firewall and kind of tweaked some stuff. Doesn't really look like the whole tower moved at all. It's possible that it did, but is it going to be enough to like throw off what we got going on? I don't think so. So I'm not too worried about it, but I'm definitely going to be replacing this fender. One, because it's like smashed in, but also it's rusty. And as you know, I'm sick and tired of dealing with rust in this car. We'll eventually take this fender off the car, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea. Like the goal is to move this stuff out of the way, paint behind, and then let it go back into its resting spot or its natural position of like where it's supposed to be mounted. The brake lines, really quick. So it's kind of cool because those two there on the right are the front. So that one coming down is a front, and this one coming out of that hole is a front. That one there is a rear. So the rear is going to be super easy to plumb. The fronts, I have to tee these together and run them into the master. So I'll be showing a little bit of brake line stuff once I get to that portion of the build. But I'm just kind of touching base on exactly what I'm doing so you guys can kind of understand if you want to follow along doing something similar like this to your car. I don't necessarily have to pull everything out. I just need to get it out of the way so that I can paint, and then I can put it back where it goes and then finish painting. Another cool trick is the way that we're going to wrap these things up. All this will get wrapped in a foil. Foil is really nice because you can wrap things in it. It forms to like the shape that you want it to be in, and then you can kind of tuck it away and it doesn't like flap around or move a lot. You can really get it to seal up some stuff. You can paint on the foil, it doesn't even matter. Like I'll spray this whole area here with this, I'll probably move it, but if I got paint onto the foil, wouldn't really matter. Then I just unwrapped the foil and my line never got touched. So I'm going to be doing that with like the brake lines and with a couple of other goodies like the fuse box and stuff, just because I don't want to get too much paint on it, and probably some parts of the harness. This harness is really ugly. I hit it with the pressure washer, so now it's all like chewed up. Somebody started wrapping it. I might continue that wrap all the way down so that it's nice and fresh when it's tucked away, and then the gloss little shimmer there will kind of hide it too. I might even actually tuck it up higher into the fender, something like that, so that you can't really see it. But oh, also I just like hacked off the ABS stuff because I don't really care, I'm not going to use it. I have this one marked just so I know where it goes, but really doesn't matter anymore because I'm not using any of the ABS stuff. Now with all that kind of cleaned up, there's a lot of metal shavings in here from when I cut off all the adapters or all the mounting points. So I got to get all that metal out, and then I got to pressure wash the whole bay and scrub it down by hand, get it really clean, and then I can lay some paint on this bad boy. So let's do some cleaning. Oh man, look at this engine bay. Now, I didn't end up like taping off a bunch of stuff. I just kind of sprayed around it. That's why I said I kind of moved some things, sprayed a layer behind it, and now I can kind of start putting things back. I didn't use the foil. The cool thing about having a black car as a base and painting the engine bay gloss black is that you don't have to hit like every single corner, put a ton of layers and make it all perfect. I have plenty of paint over there, so I'm gonna keep going over, like I'll probably do another layer over this thing, but that's pretty much like the refreshment and cleaning of the engine bay. Now it's just time to like mount things back into place, and I spray painted all of these because all that's coming out. We got some BCs on the way, or not on the way actually. They're already here. But dude, night and day difference from the engine bay when I got the car to where it is now. And so We'll throw another layer of paint on this thing, let it dry, and then the next thing we gotta do is jump into all the suspension because a bunch of Condor stuff showed up and the BC stuff showed up. So as always, I appreciate you guys so much for helping me simply by watching the videos, liking them and sharing them. That's cool too, and subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it, and all that stuff helps. But thanks for just watching and running into you guys at different car shows or different events and having you guys tell me about how you watch the channel and all that. Just makes me stoked, dude. Makes me super stoked. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the love and support. Don't forget to follow the boys over at AK Condor. Give them some love. In the next episode, we're going to be pulling the subframes out of this and doing all the Condor bushings, and I'll show you guys kind of some tips and tricks. We'll be doing some suspension stuff. Suspension overhaul, I don't know. Appreciate you guys again for watching. As always, make sure you support those who support us. And until the next time, I'm gonna do another coat, but you guys don't watch all that. Stay safe, my dudes. Appreciate you. All right, guys, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel in another way, you can head to holdfast-usa.com. Buy anything on the website. It helps us keep this content coming to you. Huge thanks to the sponsors as well who support all these different series that we want to bring you guys. Give them a follow, give them a like, tell them Micah sent you. As always, boys, stay safe.